let's move on and talk about UGRO Capital. We do have the management joining in with us. Mr. Nath, the founder and MD at the company, is joining with us. And actually, we are not going to talk about UGRO this time, Mr. Nath. What we want to talk about is budget is close by. Just almost 10 days now for the budget. When you look at the sector or, companies like yourself as well, MSME overall have seen so much of a growth and boost in the last couple of years, and so has your business started seeing an improvement. So let's start by in terms of what is the expectation that the industry has, and for the MSME sides, what is the wish list that one is watching out for?
It is always good to talk about the industry as a whole rather than UGRO all the time. I think so. Look, in fact, we are running a campaign called MSME Achha Hai. For a very long period of time within the financial ecosystem, it is presumed that MSME is a weak part of our economic ecosystem. What we have seen in last 4 or 5 years, especially post-pandemic, we are seeing the MSME segment to become more resilient. It is contributing to our GDP very significantly, and it is the largest employment generator in our country, which means that overall, all ecosystem has to provide support, especially when it comes to the credit need of MSME. And budget is extremely, actually is a good time wherein such support can be provided, because India's growth is completely dependent upon MSME's growth. How it can be done? It can be done on multiple ways. First and foremost, what we have been saying, that there is a need to create a ecosystem or identification of NBFCs which actually provide credit to MSME. So as it has happened for microfinance company, as it has happened for housing finance company, lending institution, especially NBFC, which are focused on priority sector lending, should be differentiated from other lenders. And that's why lending by bank and other financial ecosystem should be done on a preferential basis. Second, we are saying that some form of a government support, whether it is in form of a partial credit guarantee, because we have seen whenever the partial credit guarantee came, the lending institution's motivation to lend to such NBFC was fairly high. Third, some simple simplification like SARFAESI, because we as lenders or NBFC industry as a lender are actually, if you look at a bank, the SARFAESI cover is up to 1 lakh rupees of loan. Housing finance company have 1 lakh, but it is only NBFC which has limitation up to 20 lakh rupees, which means our ability to do short or small loans to MSME get hindered, because you are risk averse to that segment of the market. And last but not least, there is a very serious creating a refinancing institution for NBFC sector, especially NBFCs which are in priority sector. Because if if banks don't have to lend to NBFC and NBFC have to grow for such deserving sector, there has to be some form of a liability support which need to be created for NBFC industry.
Nath, also what I was reading in terms of some other reports that were coming in as well, especially in terms of streamlining payments for the micro and small enterprises. What is the necessity, that need that you require there right now, and what would make it easier for, micro and small enterprises in this payment side?
Yeah, so I think look, one of the challenge for both, irregular payment behavior. So you might have seen MSME industry saying that this 90-day norm for, account to be categorized in NPA should be increased to 180 days. Then this demand from MSMEs are coming because they receive their payment on a very irregular behavior. They, when they are supplying to a large corporate, when they are supplying to a marketplace, when they are supplying to a customer, nobody pays them in time. And that's why, their credit behavior get deteriorated, which actually, deteriorate their ability to take credit. So there is definitely a need to regulate both the payment ecosystem, which means everyone who buys material from an MSME should necessarily pay on time. There's some regulatory change happened last year, but its effect was not very strong or significant. And second, also, knowing that MSMEs get their payment on an irregular basis, when they would become delinquent and whether they are actually, not being able to pay 90 days does not necessarily mean that they are a weak customer. Some realignment for MSME customer in terms of NPA norms is also need of the hour.
Mr. Nath, also this time what is expected is that, the focus would be, more on the rural side, or giving more in the hands of, the rural area. So what do you think in terms of maybe a Manrega allocation that would come in, and how do you see that benefiting the industry as well as UGRO, in terms of, given that the portion of your loans come in also from that side?
Yeah. No, so I think so the focus would be to put more money in the hands of the people, generate more employment. So there are two ways in India you can do it. So Manrega and other schemes which actually put more money in the hands of the people, finally also benefit small businesses. So in a tier 3 or tier 4 town, if there is a small shop owner and there are more money being given in the hands of the people, the same set of people will buy more material, which means that that small shopkeeper would prosper from there. So to that extent, any such money being put in hands would also benefit the MSME. Second, also I'm presuming the government would also focus that how MSME as an industry would grow, because that also is a generator of employment. A small business, getting 10 lakh rupees to 50 lakh rupees or in form of a credit or some support generates 10 more people's employment. So, if you create that ecosystem, then ultimately the people would benefit because they will get local employment. India cannot sustain and support itself on large corporate, because you can do that industrial production activity only in certain concentrated geography. For India to sustain, you need to create employment en masse at a grassroots level, both in rural as well as in MSME ecosystem.
And Mr. Nath, I just want to know also that what do you think would happen, MSMEs in the need for tech upgrades there, the green tech side, how do you think that will come out in the budget? Any thoughts on that front?
No, so I think so you have to differentiate, we keep saying that the credit gap in India for MSME is 90 lakh crore. Of that 90 lakh crore, the 90% belongs to one category, which is MSME, which are in the turnover band of 15 lakh to 15 crore. So the tech upgrade, skill upgrade, all of that is largely for MSMEs or SMEs, which in 50 to 200 crore band. For the median and small businesses, the digitization is more important, and digitization doesn't mean massive technology, spent. Digitization means that you are on the digital payment ecosystem, you are being able to access the marketplaces, and you are live digitally, and behaviorally you are changing to be not in cash economy but in more formal economy. What can support is, for example, capital subsidy scheme. So reintroduction of capital subsidy scheme for skill or technology upgradation would make sure that MSME adopt to digital ecosystem faster, because once they will become more digitally enabled, they will generate more revenue, which means more revenue for the government. And that's why any form of capex and skill development support for MSME would eventually make sure that these MSME come to the formal economy at a faster pace.
Just one last question, Mr. Nath. There's a lot of expectations and a lot of hopes, from the MSME side that one wants. So, do you think the need of the hour is, for the MSME revival, right? The sick MSME revival of that. Do you think anything that one could watch out on from that front? And, how does that pave the way also for the industry?
We have not come across wherein this is, at the moment, is a very large need. India has come out extremely well purely because of the guarantee scheme which Government of India launched during COVID. The revival of MSME have been at a very fast pace. So I think so. I expect the more focus would be on the growth, because the population which is to deliver growth is actually 100,000 times more than the people who are become sick and their revival is necessary. Something is done; it's always good. But I think the more focus would be on underserved MSME, which has potential to grow, and that I think so should be the real focus.
Thank you so much, for joining in with us, giving us your time, talking to us about what one should be expecting in terms of the budget this time and what you are watching out for as well. That was Mr. Nath joining in with us, and mainly we were talking about the budget expectations this time, especially from the MSME sides, and what one should be watching out for.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.